Yo, what is up guys? I am back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about if this iPhone 6 is good in 2020. Let's get right into it. The iPhone 6 was released in September 2014, making it nearly 6 years old. It was a good phone when it launched, and it was actually Apple's most popular phone. The iPhone 6 has a lot of issues though. It does have the bending issues, it has lots of things like that. The problem that would happen with it is over time in pockets it would wear down and bend, and that has become a much bigger problem now in 2020 because most people are buying them used, so they're obviously not getting them not bent. Well, for some of them at least, it can be a problem because the aluminum on this phone is just not that good. It's not that good, but just had to get a few of those issues out of the way before we get into the actual video with what's going on with this phone. So guys, something I did want to test was the load time of applications. So we're going to test some of the applications here. We're going to do a startup test, so let's go ahead and make sure everything's gone, and then we'll go ahead and turn it off and turn it back on. So we are now into the phone, and that was not that long. It was a little bit longer than a lot of phones that I've used in recent times, but it's fine. It's not bad. It's not extremely slow. Now let's go ahead and test out a few of these apps. First, we'll start off with FaceTime since it's the first thing here. Very quick actually logging into it. Obviously it needs to be activated. We're not going to do that right now. Go ahead and get out of that. And we'll go into calendar. Also very fast. The calendar working out just fine. We'll go into the weather app because it actually requires, I really want to test something that requires Wi-Fi. I know FaceTime does, but I really want to try something that I can get right now. So let's go ahead and go into weather. So that loaded up pretty quickly. Not much lag at all. Scrolling is fine, getting through things as I fail to scroll through it. But yeah, it's not too slow, works just fine on the weather app, everything's good there. Now, two apps that I really want to test are the App Store and iTunes Store because they require a lot, because they need to load apps, so let's go ahead and test those out, starting with the App Store. That was pretty quick actually, goes right into the search, and now we can scroll and it works just fine. Let's get out of here, and let's go into the iTunes Store. It was a little slower, I think, than the App Store, but it works fine. Scrolling is just fine on it. One of the reasons that I'm actually surprised of how well this phone is doing right now is because of how horrible it was on iOS 11. It was ridiculous. It was terrible. It was slow. It was just bad. It was not a good experience, and it made Apple look bad. And so they released this update, and the phone is working perfectly again. Now let's go in and go into settings. Scrolling works just fine, as you would expect a stock app to work, usually just fine, unless you're on the iPhone 4S. Let's get out of here. And now, guys, I want to test some of the third-party apps. So before we do that, let's go ahead and clear everything out, because these are stock apps, and you don't want them to interfere with the third-party ones. So I'm going to start out with YouTube. This is probably going to take a lot longer than the other ones did. So it did take a lot longer than the App Store and the iTunes Store did, but it's not slow. Let's go ahead and get out of here now. Let's go into Spotify. Loads right into Spotify, no delay, not really much of a delay there, but there was a delay there. Netflix. That one was a lot faster than I expected to be, actually. I expected that one to take a lot longer. Let's get out of there, and let's go into Disney now. Didn't take too long to load in, worked pretty good. It's a little bit slower than a lot of other devices I use, but it's really not bad, especially for a 6-year-old phone. It's very usable so far. There's only a few limits to what you'll be able to do, such as download games or apps that require 2 gigabytes of RAM because this one only has 1 gigabyte. Now let's try out the gaming with Minecraft. I couldn't think of something really better. I just wanted to go with something simple, easy to download, didn't take up a lot of space. So let's go right into Minecraft. This is going to take a lot longer, I can already tell you. So it took kind of forever to load into the game, but now that we're in the game, it runs just fine. It just took a while to get off the main screen and get into the game. It takes a little longer, obviously because it's an old phone, but it's not bad once you're into the game. It's actually very responsive. I'm not having any issues right now with it. It's working just fine. Let's go ahead and try to break something, because I know on the iPhone 4S, if you try to break something, a lot of the times it'll glitch out and not break because it's laggy. The game is working out just fine. Obviously, some games are going to be different than others. This is Minecraft, so you got to know, like, Minecraft is obviously not going to be really intensive on anything, really. The only iOS device, like, that I've had problems with it on is the A5 chipset series, which is the iPad 2, iPhone 4S, iPad mini, and the iPad 3. Those are the only devices that I've had problems with Minecraft on. It runs terribly on those. But the good thing about this game is that you can, change the settings, and that's a good thing about most games on the iOS devices. But I'll go ahead and get out of this game and check out the rest of the phone. So guys, the last thing I want to take a look at right now is just the browser. Let's go ahead and go into Safari. And the page I'm going to load up is going to be html5test.com. Let's go ahead and go to the website and see what the score is. It gets a 467, which is actually really good for an older phone that has 1 gigabyte of RAM. So this phone is pretty good for its age. It works out pretty well, and for my final evaluation on it, I'd have to say I think it's worth it if you can get it for around $70 to $80 to $90 in that area. I wouldn't spend much more off of it for that, because if you're spending more than that, you might as well just get an iPhone 6S, which is definitely going to be more future-proofed than this, and can play a lot of games, well, all games that are on the App Store, because, well, except for the ones that require the features from the newer devices, but all games that require 2 gigabytes of RAM, because the 6S does have 2 gigabytes of RAM and this has 1. So my final evaluation of this phone is going to be, I'd say that it is in fact worth it, but don't spend too much money on it, because then it becomes quickly not worth it. But it is a fast phone, and it works great, but still, just beware of what you spend on it, because it is an old phone. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if this video helped you out, because it would help me out a ton, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.